Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight I want to discuss the 1979 film Don't Go in the House, starring Dan Grimaldi. Now, that's a name you may not know right off, but he played Patsy Parisi in The Sopranos. For anybody that loved The Sopranos, you will recognize Dan Grimaldi. He is a lot younger in this, of course, but again, he played Patsy Parisi in The Sopranos, so you will definitely know him from that. And in this, he plays, I think he works in a factory or some shit. He's a factory worker by the name of Donnie, who lives with his mother, and he's about in his early 30s, and he's living with her. He seems to be her primary caregiver because she's not well. And in addition to not being well, she's also a completely ruthless psychopath who pretty much destroyed any hope of normality that Donnie had as a kid, because she thought the only way to get the evil out of him was to burn it out by scarring up his arms really badly over the stove. And this unfortunately has caused Danny to sort of develop a psychosis of his own, where he hears these voices that are telling him to kill people. Of course, this movie's not really looking to pull too many punches. This is a straightforward flamethrower-based slasher from the end of the 70s. And so very early on, his mother passes away, and this at first excites Donnie because he feels that he's finally free. But then he becomes overwhelmed with grief. And so naturally, when anybody's grieving the loss of a loved one, most of us will steal up one of our rooms, which is exactly what he does. He picks one of the rooms in his mother's rather large house, and he walls it in with sheets of steel. And then he proceeds to get his hands on a flamethrower and then kidnap, strip naked, and chain up women, and then burn them alive using said flamethrower. Now, I don't know. I guess that sounds like a normal way to deal with grief, I suppose. I haven't had anybody die on me like that. I've had friends pass away, but I certainly wasn't going on a flamethrower kill crazy rampage because of that. But considering the fact that Donnie had to deal with incredible amounts of emotional and physical abuse, this makes sense to him. And that's the one thing that I can definitely say about this movie, that most movies from this era or from this particular style, they don't tend to do a lot of showing any kind of emotional depth. Usually this movie is just an excuse to get a chick's top off, set her on fire, and then rinse and repeat. But considering that Donnie is so tragic, and he's really nice, and he's so damaged, and he doesn't know how to interact with people socially, and this is made abundantly clear during the disco scene when this girl tries to get him to dance with her, and she pulls his arms over a flame that's off a candle on the table that they're sitting at, and this causes him to smash the candle, which was housed in this little glass thing, in her face, completely disfiguring her, and creates this big scene for his buddy who was out there just trying to cheat on his wife. And I think it's sad because, again, like I said, these movies, they're not usually known for creating any sort of real weight, emotionally speaking. These movies are just kill happy, right? But I really felt bad for Donnie. And the abuse that his mom heaped on him has turned him into an absolute nightmare. And he collects the burnt bodies of the women that he's killed in one of his rooms where he has his mom's body. And he dresses them up using his mom's clothes. And he'll go in and yell at them because they'll be saying negative things to him. Of course, this, naturally is all taking place in his head. And he's always fighting with them. They're like, you're no good, you're this and you're that. And he's like, shut the fuck up, And it's, buddy, you're talking to a fucking charcoal briquette, And so the movie concludes with some really bad acting on behalf of the actor who's playing his buddy. Runs to the priest, and he's like, Father, can you help me? Please, Father, help me, help me, help me. Can you help me? Can you help me? And some of the worst acting I've ever seen. The priest decides, yes, I can help. They shoot over to Donnie's house, but it's too late. Because at this point, the fucking burnt corpses are standing up and walking towards him. And when this happened, I tell you, the first time I saw this movie, that initially scared the hell out of me. don't remember how old I was. I was young when I saw this, but it was like, holy shit, they're alive? But then it becomes, apparent pretty quickly that no, this is all in his head. And it's sort of like his guilt and his crimes are just catching up with him. And in the process, he burns the entire house down. Now, that is where the movie should conclude. But because this movie wants to kick you in the throat one last time, shoots over to some house we've never seen before with some little kid we've never seen before playing in his living room, ignoring his mom's demands to go and clean his room up. And she comes out and proceeds to pummel the kid pretty severely. And after she leaves, you hear the voices start in that kid's head. And it adds so much to this movie, because none of this would happen basically if their parents weren't so abusive. And it's actually kind of got a message here, which movies from this era weren't really interested in having a message of any kind other than getting girls naked and killing them. So for them to have the movie end like this and to show that this little boy, as the result of the abuse that he's suffering at the hands of his mother, and now that he's hearing the same voices that Donnie heard, he's going to grow up to do horrible things to people too. That is, unfortunately, the cycle, right? But yeah, so look, wait, hang on, was there anything else? Oh yeah, my God, there's a great retail store scene in this. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about like retail scenes or mall movies. Like, for example, Chopping Mall and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure are two epic examples of excellent mall movies. But this has a great scene where Donnie is going to a men's clothing store in order to get sort of a disco outfit, because of course he's so socially inept, he doesn't know anything. And the guy helping him, and then you see the backdrop, you see the clothing, and it's just really fun to see a men's clothing store from 1979, because unfortunately I wasn't shopping much for men's clothing in 79. I wouldn't start shopping for men's clothing to impress women at discos till around 80 or 81. So I missed this. But that was amazing too. And I also absolutely loved the song during the end credits, Boogie Lightning. That song is so good. But yeah, that is everything. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little over 7 minutes while I discussed the little-known but sort-of-known 1979 film starring Dan Grimaldi known as Don't Go in the House. No one's ever warned not to go in the house either. Kind of an odd title now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, look, if you like this review, like always, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But please, most importantly, please do not forget that the world is a better place because you are in it. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe. And we will see you guys really soon.